Sometimes we get drawings like this that have a lot of references and kind of messed up. So we're going to take a look at the drawing first before we draw it in AutoCAD. And so when you look at this drawing, what we have is very similar to the first drawing. We have this kind of like plate, metal, wood, whatever it is. The outside is here. So it's got the curved corners and that's the object. And then we have all these little circles. We've got 4 little ones in the corner. They're holes. And then another one here and here and here, these 3. Now this is like a top view looking down on it. And then this over here would be like a side view of the thickness of it. And all of these hidden lines represent the holes. You can tell I'm not drawing straight with this pencil, but so you're taking the side view and you're looking at this edge right here. So the top, the bottom, the thickness of this plate, and then each one of these holes, see here's the little hole, if you just follow it along here to here, this is the top and the bottom of the hole that's in this plate, the top and the bottom, these kind of hidden lines that represent the holes that cut through this piece of material. So some of the symbols we talked about last week, we have this one here, the circle with a line through it, which is the diameter of 0.25. And it says 4 holes because there are 4 holes that would be like a typical holes that are 0.25. And then over here, it says R for radius. And then sometimes it says 4 PL for 4 places. So in 4 places, which would be these like curves along the outside corners, we have a radius here of 0.375. Sometimes we also have reference dimensions. That's what REF is, which means you don't really have to have it there because you have this overall dimension of 6.25 that says that it's 6.25 from the top to the bottom. And you could take that number and subtract all these other numbers. So you don't really, need that number. And so sometimes we use it as a reference. Anyways, sometimes it gets a little messed up because the drawings are getting marked up. So it's 0.375 from the circle center to the bottom plate, which makes sense. We don't really need that dimension because the radius already is 0.375, which 0.375 would say that it's from the center of the circle out to any place along this curve. But, it's here. Same thing here, the 0.375 showing from the center to the edge of this. So let's take a look at how we would draw this using AutoCAD. We're going to continue to build our experiences by using some of the tools that we worked with in the first week to practice and adding a few more to our experiences. So the first thing we want to do is save the file. We can go up to the big red A there and down to save, or the floppy disk icon like we talked about, and then navigate over to the folder that the instructor is using, as well as the file name that the instructor is asking you to use. So I'm going to name this assignment 3, but check with your instructor to see what the assignment will be called, and then pick save. We talked about creating layers, so let's get right into it. Over here in the layer panel, we can click layer properties. In the layer properties dialog box, we're going to pick the new layer icon right there and type in objects, press enter twice, and type in dim text. We did this in the first assignment. It's good practice to create these new layers, but we are going to create now 2 new layers. Press enter twice and type in hidden for the hidden lines, which are going to be the little dashed lines that are over there here indicating what's hidden, those holes that we talked about. And then also we're going to press enter twice and create a layer called center for the center lines. Let's call it center lines. Center lines. Okay, so now we have 4 layers. We've got a layer for the main objects, one for the dimensions and text. We've got one for the hidden lines. This is a choice to create a layer for it, but a good way to show you how to change the settings. And one for the center lines. Now, we went over this in the first video, but you could use these icons up here like this one to delete a layer if you had too many in there, or you could click on the new layer icon to create new layers to end up with these 4. Okay, right now, for now, because we're just getting started, we're going to leave all of the layers on and unlocked. So all of these should be yellow, and we're going to keep these little printers white so that all of our objects will print. So let's start by highlighting the object layer and come over to the column called line weight. We said we were going to make the object layer bolder. So click on the word default right there. For the objects layer, we can scroll down and click on 0.60 millimeters. Let's go ahead and pick OK. And then for the hidden layer, this is new for us, we're going to change the line type. So right now, all of the line types for all of these layers are continuous. For the hidden layer, let's go ahead and click on the word continuous under line type. And you'll see that only the continuous line type is loaded. So we can click the load button right here and scroll down until you see hidden. You'll see that there are 3 different line types that are different sizes for hidden, but we're going to go ahead and use just the one that's called hidden. Now, since we're here, we can load the center line layer as well. We can do them individually, or we can just do it right now. So we've got the hidden line type highlighted. If you scroll up and look for the line type called center, just center, hold your control key down and click on center, and both of those will be highlighted. I can resize this dialog box by pulling the bottom down to see that both are highlighted and pick OK. Now, you see how we just loaded those line types. This can be done ahead of time, and all of this can be part of the template file that we'll be talking about. So we're changing the hidden layer, so we want to highlight hidden here and pick OK. So now the hidden layer has the hidden line type. Now highlight the center lines layer, click on continuous under line type for that layer, and you see how we already loaded it? So we just have to click on center. Now if you needed to load it, you could go through it now and pick load and go get that center loaded, and then click on center again here and pick OK. So now what did we do? We created 4 new layers. We changed the line weight on the object layer to be bolder. We changed the hidden layer to be a line type hidden and the center lines to be center. Let's go ahead and change the color of the layers. I'm okay with whatever color that you'd like to use. I know that when you work with the company, there will be standards in place that you should check with to make sure that your company is using the same colors for that those projects. And color really ends up being more visual, but it can hold properties as well. So when we start to print, I can talk to you about another choice to use color to represent properties. So let's go ahead and change these colors. Make sure that they're kind of brighter colors. We don't want anything really dark, like even this blue is too dark to see on the black background. So I'm going to just follow this kind of line of the first few numbers of the colors and pick here the yellow, the green, the cyan, and the magenta. Now we're going to start by drawing objects. So we want to set that layer current. Double click on the little sheet of paper to the left of objects right there to set that layer current. We said that we could also use this icon here to set a layer current, and you'll see that it's the top one here in the layers panel. Okay, I'm going to close out of this dialog box. We may have to come back to it for others, but for now we'll leave it like that. When you drop this list down of layers, you see that you created all of these layers. All of them should be on and unlocked, and the object layer is the top one or the current one. So if you take a look at this detail, we have a dimension, and this is kind of a rough sketch that I got from a different professor. The 4.75 should be from this corner right here. We're going to clean that up and make it look right. It's 4.75 by 6.25. So that's the box that we're going to start to draw. So like we did in the last assignment, let's click the line icon, we're going to click a point to represent the bottom left corner. So we're going to start at the bottom left corner. We're going to click a point, and we said you don't have to click any other points. We're just going to pull our mouse to the right and type in 4.75 and enter. Then we can pull our mouse straight up. Watch out for mouse movement here. And straight up type in 6.25 and enter. Now, there are other advanced ways of drafting, but we're learning. This is only our second assignment. So we'll go ahead and pull our mouse to the left and type in 4.75 and enter. And then, as we said, we can either type in C for close, we can right click and pick close, or we can pick close right here in the command line to close back to the first point. Also, we can use the wheel of our mouse to put our pointer over here and roll the wheel towards the computer screen. So roll the wheel to go closer and back. You can even hold the wheel down to pan. And remember, we said we could double click on the wheel to do a zoom extents, and then just roll it back a little bit to have this in place. Okay, moving forward, let's practice that offset command. We have a lot of offsets here. We can offset for the smaller circles. We've got 0.375 here from the right side. Then we also have 2 for the center, which makes sense. And we have all of these other offsets from the bottom going up to establish those vertical dimensions of 0.375 and then 0.75 right here from the circle to the smaller circle. We then have the difference between 3.5 and 2. We'll do a little bit of math there and figure out that it's 1.5. 1.5 from this circle, the smaller circle, to the next circle, and then 2 from this circle to this circle, and we should have enough of our construction lines to draw our circles, maybe one more from the top down, this 0.375. Okay, so let's get started. The offset command is in the modify panel right here, right in the corner, on couple under erase. Let's go ahead and click on offset. You can type in O for offset or offset, the full word offset, to start that command. So once you start the offset command, it asks you for a distance. We're going to type in 0.375 and enter. Then we'll pick the line on the far right side as the object to offset. And you see how we can go left or right? We want to pull our mouse to the left and click. Since we're here and we already have the 0.375, we can click on the top line and click below it. We can click on this left side line and click to the right, and click the bottom line and click up. That's the offset command. Now, you can end the command and start it again, or since we're already in it, I'm going to show you a new feature. We can select the next line that we want to offset, which is going to be this new line at the bottom. We're going to offset it up this 0.75. We can click right on that line as the object, pull your mouse up, and you see it gives you that little edit box. You can type in 0.75 and enter. See how it goes up automatically? That's going to be for that small circle. And so you can start the command again, or you can just stay in offset. I like that they added this for us. And we're going to pick that line right there, the new one, pull your mouse up and type in 1.5. You don't see 1.5 on the drawing, but if you take 3.5 and you subtract the 2, you'll be able to get the distance between those two circles. 1.5 and enter. So now we're at this middle circle, and we need to offset that up this 2 inches. So we'll click on that new line right there, pull your mouse up and type in 2 and enter. Great. Now, because we just did 2 and we have a 2 right here from the small outside circles to the center, we'll just click right here on this outside 0.375 line and pull your mouse over, type in 2 and enter. Now, you could have drawn a line that was right midpoint here, but since we have a 2 here and a 2 here, we used offset. Now we have all of our grid lines. We have all of our offsets here. We can use our escape key to get out of that command. Some people will right click and pick cancel as well, or enter, depending on the command. And we're ready. We're ready to place our circles. We're still on the object layer. We have 4 small circles that are diameter 0.25. So I'm going to go up to circle center diameter. So go to the little arrow underneath the word circle and click on circle center diameter and come to the intersection of these 2 lines and click for the center point. Type in 0.25 for the diameter and enter. Now we can do that again or copy it. I think we're going to get the practice with doing it again, and we'll use other commands as we move forward. So circle center diameter, click the center of these 2 offset lines, and since we already know that the diameter is 0.25, look in your command line, look down there at the bottom. You see that 0.25 that's in the less than and greater than kind of brackets? You can just press enter to accept that. Now be careful here because we talked about right clicking to go back to repeat the circle, but if you do this, it will, I'm just going to show it to you. If you right click and pick repeat circle and you pick the center of the circle, you see how it reverts back to radius. So you'd have to either pick diameter or you just enter that because the radius is the same as the diameter. So I'll do that again. So be careful when you right click on the circle to repeat it because it goes back to radius. So it's up to you. You can go up here and pick circle center diameter for all 4 times. I'll have to show you here where you can go to circle center diameter, click the center right there, and then enter. Or you can right click and repeat the circle, but only because we had just drawn one, we can click on the center right here at the bottom. And the radius is going to be the same as the diameter, the circle that we just drew, but see how it goes back to the radius? Let's go ahead and press enter. So that's our outside 4 little holes. And now we're ready to draw these other holes. Here we have another 0.25. We have one that's 0.5 diameter and one that's 0.75. So circle center diameter, click the intersection of these 2 lines and press enter since that's the same as the 4 outside ones. But now we have to change it. So circle center diameter, we're going to click here at kind of the center of the whole plate, right there, intersection of those 2 lines. And this time we're going to type in 0.5 and enter. Circle center diameter, click this intersection and type in 0.75 and enter. So now let's introduce a new command called fillet. The fillet command will help us to create these curved arcs at the corners. And we have a radius of 0.375 in 4 places. So when you use the fillet command, we need to watch the command line. So let's do this together. It's the icon just diagonal from the erase right here. We're going to drop this list down and click on fillet. Stop and look at your command line. The first thing we want to do is click on multiple, the word multiple. Another option would be to type in M for multiple and enter. What this does is it allows us to create multiple fillets without it kicking us out after the first one. So start the fillet command, click on multiple, and then click on radius. Or type in R for radius. We can get to it either way. Your command line says specify fillet radius. We want to type in 0.375 and enter. Now we're ready. We can select the top line and then click on the line to the far left. You see how it creates that arc right there, and it trims back the lines by default. So I can click on the top line and click the line to the right. I can click here the bottom line and the line to the right here, and the bottom line and the line to the left. And those are our fillets in 4 places. That's why it's R, which is radius. In 4 places, we have 0.375 radius. Okay, So escape out of that, and let's move objects to the right layer. So we have some lines like this center line right here that goes from one small circle to the other. Click once on that line, and then drop your layer list down and click right on the word center lines right there. See how it goes to the right layer? So we'll do that for this, all 4 of these lines that go from small circle to small circle, or holes. So all 4 of these lines will go ahead, although it's because they're all in different layers now, this will look blank, but when we drop this list down and we click on center lines, all of those objects will be placed on the center line layer. We have one more line. Yeah, we might as well grab it. That center one right here. We'll go ahead and click on that center line right there and put that on the center line layer. Use your escape key to get out of the command. And we are going to erase these 3 vertical lines. I can select each one so that all of them are selected, and then it's up to you. You can click on the erase icon up here. Like we said, you could click on the delete key on the keyboard, or you can right click and pick erase, either way. Now we have the plate, or the outside, we have the holes that are in it. Let's draw over here this side view. Now to draw the side view, we want it to line up with the top and the bottom of this plate, because it is just the side view here looking towards the edge of it. So it's up to you if you draw a line over and then draw another line here and draw another line and use offsets and then clean it all up. But I'd like to propose to you a way that I use called tracking, where you can track from this corner over to where you want to start drawing. So use your zoom commands to kind of give yourself a little space over here, because we want to draw it over here far enough to get these dimensions in between them. So let's do this together. Start the line command, and then just rest your pointer. Don't click. Rest your pointer right there at the top line on the corner, and pull your mouse over, and you see how you've got this like extension? You're tracking over to where you want to start. You can see the little green tracking vector. I'm going to come over to about right here and click. And that's how I can track over to a new point. If you feel more comfortable drawing the line and then erasing it, you can. Now we're starting the line right here. We can pull our mouse to the right, and over here in the detail it says it's 0.5. So pull your mouse straight to the right, type in 0.5 and enter. Now pull your mouse down. You can type in 6.25. That's okay. Or you can track. Tracking, I can rest my pointer on the existing line at the bottom there. Don't click, and kind of extend it over. You can see that green tracking vector until it snaps into place. You can see both green tracking vectors, and then click. See, it's still 6.25. So it's up to you. You can pull your mouse down and type in 6.25. That's okay with me. I'm going to click here. Now, again, I can track from this corner down, or just pull your mouse to the left and type in 0.5 and enter. And then C, you can type in C and enter. C for close, or click close in the command line right there. So really, we drew a rectangle that's 0.5 width and 6.25 height, which represents the side of this plate. Okay, now we're ready to draw these little hidden lines that are coming from the circles, the top and bottom of these circles. So the first thing we should do is change the layer to hidden right there. We're going to click right on the word hidden so that that is the current layer. Okay, we can now draw the lines from the top and bottom of the circles. Now, because we have a line there, we can use intersection, the intersection of the center line and the circles, but I think it would be a good idea for you to know that we have these object snaps that we talked about in the last video. Down at the bottom, you'll see that it's blue and on. It's called object snaps, and you can click on that little arrow next to the object snap icon, which should still be blue and on, and you'll see all these check marks that represent these running object snaps that are always on. This is how we're drawing with accuracy, how we're grabbing those intersections and those geometric positions of existing objects. So we're going to make sure that we have quadrant. Quadrant is another one. We're just kind of building our experiences. Each time we draw something, we're going to pick up a few more tools. The quadrant object snap will allow us to snap to the top and the bottom of the circles in the left and the right side. So go ahead and turn that on. Make sure it's checked. And now, clicking here in space, we can go over to the line tool. Now, it's up to you if you want to just draw the line or if you want to track with me. So I'm going to rest my pointer on the top of this small circle and not click, and just drag my mouse over following that tracking vector. And then when I get to the object, I'm going to click. That's where I want to start the line. Then I'll go over to the other side and click. And now I have that line. You can right click and pick enter. And now you can right click to repeat the line. So you can right click to repeat the last command that you just used. Now rest your pointer at the bottom of the small circle. Pull your mouse over to track and then click. Pull your mouse over to the other side and click. Right click and enter. Now, if you're uncomfortable with tracking, you can just draw the line over, and then later on you can erase it, and we'll take a look at trimming it as well. But there are so many different ways. As you start to learn more ways of doing things, you'll be able to use what works for you. Honestly, yeah, no, I'm just going to stay with the tracking, but if you feel more comfortable drawing the line and deleting it later, that's fine too. So right click and repeat the line, rest your pointer here at the top of the big circle, track over to this side view and click, pull your mouse over and click, right click and enter. Now, when I right click and enter, you're welcome to press enter on the keyboard too, if you're uncomfortable with using your mouse keys, buttons right now. So like here, if you're uncomfortable with right clicking to repeat the line, you can just go get the line icon. I can right click and pick line, rest your pointer here at the bottom of the circle, come over to the side view, click, and then click, right click, enter. Now, the other choice would be to do a bunch of undo or a bunch of offsets over here to get these lines, but we want to make sure that they're lined up because this is a specific side view of this plate. So right click and line, rest your pointer, track over, click, click, right click, enter, right click, repeat the line, do the same thing here to get the top and the bottom of these circles. All right, so now I'm tracking over. We're going to do this, use this method in other assignments coming up where we have side views and top views, and we're going to, track over. And the last one here is that small circle in the corner. I want to grab that one, and we've got these lines here. You can pause the video if you want to take a little bit more time to do that. Okay, so those are the hidden lines that represent the holes in this 0.5 thick, potentially metal plate. All right. We also see over here in this detail that there are lines that represent the center line of that circle as well. So let's go ahead and get a little more practice. We can drop the layer list down and click on center lines. And now we are doing the same thing, but from the center lines, and we're going to make the line longer so that you can actually see the center line. So let's do this. Start the line command and rest your pointer at the center of this small circle. Pull your mouse over and then just before the detail, like just before it, right here somewhere, click. And pull your mouse over here and to the other side and click. Now, right click and enter. I just want to show you this because you see how it's a solid line over here, even in the detail? It's not supposed to be a solid line. You can click on that line and click inside this little blue grip right here and stretch it over and click and see, you see how now we can see the little center lines? So it's because of how long this line is and what the scale of the line is that it's not showing that center line. So I can either, pull my mouse over and like find a good spot where the center line actually shows, or what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what happens if we change the line type scale. This is another new tool. We're going to be using it in other projects as well. right now we're using this global line type scale of 1, and you'll see it change. Watch this. Let's go ahead and do this together. Let's type in LT scale. The larger the object or the smaller the object, we'll need to adjust the line type scale. So let's everybody type in LT SCALE for line type scale and enter. Now, see how we're using 1? Let's try something like 0.75 and enter. Just want to show you. You see how the line type scale, the scale of like the hidden lines and the scale of the center line is now a little bit smaller. You can actually see that little hidden line right there. We can go even smaller. Let's just try it. LT scale, enter. Let's try 0.5 and enter. Just want to show you that the smaller the number, the smaller the view of and the scale of those center lines and hidden lines. I think this is a little too small, so let's go back, LT scale, enter to 0.75 and enter. And I think 0.75 will work, but I think for us to show that this is a center line, instead of keeping it like this as a solid line, we'll need to kind of stretch out these lines to show that little dash line right there as a center line. And that works because now it really looks like a center line. So we use the LT scale of 0.75, and we'll put that in our title down here to represent what that is. Okay, so let's get our center lines in there. We have the center line layer current. We can start the line command and rest your pointer in the middle of this big circle. Track over here. In fact, you could track over and kind of eyeball here this, or you can track up here. You can rest your pointer, track down until those two are there and click. It's not that exact. I mean, if you want to be that exact, you can, but I'm just going to go ahead and click. Right click and enter. I'm hoping this magenta color is bright enough for you to see it on the video. I'm going to change it and show you how quickly we can change the color and show you that this is the concept. The concept is that we want these objects to be linked to the color of the layer. So if I drop this list down of layers and I click right on this magenta color right there, see that? I can come back over here and I'll make it white, just so you can see it. And I'll pick OK. You see how all of it changes? So that's what companies want. They want you to keep the object linked to the layer color so that you can quickly change the layer color and everything changes. Okay. You won't need to do that. I did that for visual so you can see it here and understand that the objects are linked to the layer color. Okay, so start the line command. Let's go ahead and track from the center of this 0.5 diameter circle over to about right here. Pull your mouse over and click so that we can maintain those centers. Right click, repeat the line and go from the center of that small circle over here. So we're drawing these little center lines. And one more, the center of this other smaller circle, and click and click. You see how now I can see where the center line is, and it makes a little more sense to see that it's a center line as opposed to having like over here in the detail of the solid line. Now let's take a look at adding dimensions. As we did in the first video, we're going to make that dim text layer current. Let's go down to drop these layers down and click on dim text. So now that's the top one, that's the current one. And we'll start with using linear up here at the top. In the annotation panel, we said we were going to avoid this big dimension icon for now because we want to use here linear dimension and the dimensions that are underneath this dropdown. So let's go ahead and click on linear. And we're going to click the top far left point right there and the top far right point. Pull your mouse up and click, and there's your 4.75. Okay, it's 4.75, but we don't need those extra zeros right there. And if you notice in the drawing, there is no 0 in front of the 0.375. So those are the two things that we're going to change. We're going to change the precision of the dimension, and we're going to change that 0 in front of the 0.375 to be off or suppressed. So let's go ahead and type in D and enter, the letter D anywhere and enter, and then pick the modify button. And so we're starting to come into here and look at different settings that we can change. Let's go to the primary units tab. And in the primary units tab, you're going to see that the precision is 0.0000. Right. So we're going to change that to 0.00, just 2 zeros past the decimal right there. Also, you see at the bottom left where it says 0 suppression? We want to put a check mark in leading. Look at the preview. You see the preview, it says R0.80. Now go ahead and put a check mark in leading. You see how it takes out that 0. And if I put the check mark in trailing, the other one would be taken off as well. But we'll just go ahead and put a check mark in leading. And I believe that's all we need to do in here. So let's go ahead and pick OK and close. And now, because it's linked to the objects, you'll see that it updates automatically. So let's go ahead and start dimensioning this. We can go to linear, and maybe we'll do this bigger one on the outside, the vertical one. So top line here, bottom line there. Pull your mouse over here and click. Now you can right click and repeat the dim linear command. I'm going to now click the end of this line. If I didn't have a center line, I would want to go to the very center of the circle. Probably a good idea to do that, to go to the center of the circle, because it is from the center of the circle to the center of the other smaller circle at the bottom. Pull your mouse out and click. And we'll just keep going, right click and repeat dim linear. We'll go to the bottom here and we'll pick up this 0.375 from the right side and from the center of the circle, and pull your mouse down and click. Now, this is where there's a little bit of a change and something new we're adding. All of the dimensions are going to have a precision of 0.00, except a couple of them are going to have be more exact, right? We're going to round out to 3 decimals. So once you place it, you can click on it once. You see how it says 0.38? You're just changing the precision. So you're going to click on it once, right click, go to precision, and pick 0.000 right there. So that means that this individual dimension was changed outside of the dimension style to a more exact number, rounding to 3 decimals. Now, because it's on the left side, we want to pull it over to the right. We can click on the dimension once, click inside the blue box called a grip that's close to the text, and pull your mouse to the right so that it pulls over to the right side, and click. Use your escape key on your keyboard at the top left there to get rid of those dimensions, to get rid of those grips. Okay, so now we're going back to linear, and we've got, maybe I didn't go down far enough here. We've got the 4 down here, so I'll click the center of the circle, the small circle, center of this small circle, and then remember we said we're going to line it up. Don't try to eyeball this. You're going to pull your pointer over to the existing dimension and click. Let's see if that 2 is going to fit in there. Right click, repeat the dim linear, click the center of the circle and the center of the circle, and yeah, it kind of fits in there. Click. Sure. All right, right click, dim linear, over here at the bottom, the center of the circle, come over here and click. Again, we're going to have to change the precision of that one. So we can do that right now. Click once on the 0.38, right click, go to precision, and click 0.00. And there it goes, it changes. Now you see if I repeat, it's going to go to 0000. So I don't want to repeat it. I want to go back to linear and keep going. I'm going to go ahead and click the center of this circle, the center of the other small circle, bring your mouse over. Now this is where, if you're up here, it's going to lock into a horizontal. You have to come down between the 2 extension lines and pull your mouse over to get that out and as a vertical dimension, and then click. Again, you can see that it pops out because it's best fit. It's going to best fit right in there, depending on the scale of the dimension. But what we'll do is click on the dimension once, click inside the blue grip, and then you can pull it down here if you want to put it underneath, or if you get close enough, you can kind of move it around until it looks like the arrows are popped out. You see what it, like, you see if you get too close to the middle point, you can come over here and click to get it inside there. That's kind of a way to say we don't want to change the default to say that they all have to go outside, but that one we're just going to move individually. All right, use the grips to kind of pull that around. Linear from circle, from the small circle to the very top bigger circle, the center of it right there. Pull your mouse over and line it up with the 0.75 right there. Right click, dim linear, center of circle, center of circle. This one's going to line up with this 0.375. Even though it's not touching it, you can still come over here and click on the end of it so that they're lined up and it looks somewhat organized, right? And okay, we might as well put this reference one in. We can right click and repeat dim linear, go from the big circle to the small circle, line it up, and click right there on the existing dimension so that it lines up. Now, the difference with this one is that we want to add text to it. We want to add that REF, right? So to add text to this dimension, you can double click right on the text right there. You see how it has a blinking cursor there? We can replace the entire text, but it won't be associated or it won't update as you start to change the object. So it's better to keep that like highlighted field of 1.25. So what we want to do is be able to move that blinking cursor over to the other side. Use your arrow keys to arrow over. You see how I moved just by using the arrow key, that blinking cursor from the left to the right. I don't think I can click in there to get it over there. Yeah. So you want to use the arrow keys to arrow over so the blinking cursor is at the right side of the 1.25. And then why don't we just put your cap locks on and type in REF and just keep it in line. It doesn't have to be on this, like below it there. And click in space, and there it is. That's a reference. If I pressed enter and put it underneath, it would pop the arrows out. But I think it looks good like that too. You decide. Okay, one more dimension over here. We've got a 0.5. So we'll go to linear and click the two bottom corners here. Pull your mouse down. Like you can line this up with this one as well. So you want to line it up, come over here and click on the existing one, and then that just looks better. You can leave it inside. It is on the outside over there, but I think it looks good there as well. Okay, so going back to include some of these other information about the fillets and the circles, we can go underneath the linear command right here and pick on diameter right there. And click the little circle here, the smaller circle, pull your mouse out and click. Again, it says diameter 0.25, but we need to add the text that says 4 holes. Double click on diameter 0.25 and use the arrow key like we did the other text to scooch the blinking cursor over to the right side. Press enter so that it's underneath, and now type in 4 holes. Well, uppercase, it looks like holes, and then click in space. So because this text is centered, you can double click on the text, and under the ribbon under justification, we can change that from middle center to top left, and then that'll scooch over. It's okay if that little ledge is not right in line with that for now. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so coming back over here, same kind of thing. We want to go to underneath linear, which now looks like it's diameter, so you have to look for that drop down. And this one's radius, so we'll go down to radius, and then we'll click on the fillet right here, this arc. Pull your mouse out and click. The first thing that you're going to see is that we have to change the precision. So you can click on that text, right click, go to precision, and 0.000 like we did the other dimensions. And now we have it as our 0.375. Now we need to add this 4 places, and so our PL. Let's see how it fits. You can double click on the text. Use your arrows to scooch over to the right side of that text, press enter, and type in 4 places. We'll just do PL because that's what it says on the drawing. And then click in space. And that one looks pretty good. We'll just leave it like that. Let's see, what else do we have? I think, oh yeah, we have these here that are all diameter. So we'll go back over here and underneath linear, click diameter, click on the large circle, and click here. You can even right click to repeat the dim diameter. Click on this circle, pull your mouse up and kind of line it up here and repeat and get this smaller one. I think it looks better if you try to line it up right there. And I think we have everything. Let me take a look. We've got that. These 3, that. Okay. So now let's add our text and create our PDF. I'm going to show you how to create the PDF so that at the end of the class, you'll have it to create your portfolio views. Right. So we're going to the big A there. Click on this multi-line text we did this in our first assignment. You can kind of see the ABC, so you may not have to change the height, but we'll place it as the default height and then take a look at changing it once you already place it. So click in space, pull your mouse across and click. You're creating like a box there. So you started the multi-line command and then you click a point, pull your mouse over and down and click another point. Make sure your cap locks are on, and let's call this assignment 3. Press enter and go ahead and type your name there. I think what we're going to do is we're going to press enter again and put in here LT scale equals 0.50 so that we can know for the drawing that we did change the LT scale to 0.5. Right, so let's highlight assignment 3 like we did before and click on U for underline and then click in space. I think that looks pretty good. I think that if we move it over a little here, we can kind of have a good title for this drawing. And now we're ready to print, so we can go to the print little icon there at the top left, click on that. We can then change the plotter right here to ACAD PDF, high quality print. We want to drop this list down and pick window. And like we did before, click in space, pull your mouse across and click here in space to create your box. Put a check mark and center the plot. Change your pens here to monochrome. Pick up yes, then pick apply to layout and make sure you preview. This is your preview of the drawing. You can right click and pick plot, or another option is to pick the plot icon there at the top left. Pick save, and so now you have a document outside of AutoCAD to use for your portfolio.